Bardella est un atout formidable pour le mouvement et je le dis depuis longtemps. J'espère que nous n'aurons pas à user de cet atout plutôt qu'il n'est nécessaire. Mais en attendant, je suis combative. Je ne vais pas me laisser éliminer ainsi. Je vais mener les voies de recours que je peux. Il y a un petit chemin, il est certes étroit, mais il existe. Je vais effectivement demander de la manière la plus claire qui soit que la décision d'appel intervienne me permettant d'envisager une candidature à l'élection présidentielle. Moi, je serai toujours à côté des Français. Il y a des millions de Français qui croient en moi. Des millions de Français qui me font confiance. Et je viens leur dire, ça fait 30 ans que je me bats pour vous. Et ça fait 30 ans que je me bats contre l'injustice. Et par conséquent, je vais continuer à le faire. Et je le ferai jusqu'au bout.
This is my video update on this Tuesday afternoon, April the 1st, coming to you from Limassol, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And today is April Fool's Day. And I've got nothing. I don't have any April Fool's jokes or anything like that. But I do have a pretty good Clown World segment for today. So let's work our way towards today's April 1st Clown World. And let's start things off with the news on Marine Le Pen, an update on the verdict in France. Marine Le Pen, she was on a French talk show, a news show, and she said that she's going to fight this verdict and that this was a politically motivated judgment. That is what Marine Le Pen said during her appearance on French TV. And the US State Department, they condemned this verdict against Marine Le Pen, and they compared it to the lawfare used against Trump. And Trump also condemned this verdict against Marine Le Pen. And as expected, he, of course, compared this to the lawfare that was used against him. Obviously, Trump was going to make that comparison. Meloni, she came out and condemned the judgment against Le Pen. Politico has an article with the title, Meloni joins cacophony of outrage against Le Pen guilty verdict. I think that no one cares about democracy can rejoice. I think that no one who cares about democracy can rejoice in a sentence that affects the leader of a large party and takes away representation from millions of citizens, says the Italian Prime Minister. Salvini also came out and condemned this judgment. Of course, lawfare was used against Salvini a while back to marginalize his presence in Italian politics. And look, Le Pen, maybe she did embezzle money over many years from the EU to her domestic party. Probably, maybe, possibly. It's not something that is unique to Le Pen. I said this yesterday in my video update. I am very confident that a majority of politicians in Europe are doing such things. But the judgment obviously was politically motivated. And I'm talking about the 5 years out of politics and the enforcement of this judgment, the immediate enforcement of this judgment without considering an appeal. If the court really wanted to be fair and wanted to distance itself from politics, what they would have done is they would have found Le Pen guilty, say the evidence was there and she was guilty of moving these funds around. Then they would have found her guilty, and okay, you give her a 5-year ban from politics. But what you do is you allow the appeals process to take place, and the enforcement of the ban occurs once the appeals trial is over. So you allow her to remain in politics. You allow an appeals decision to move forward, an appeals trial. That would have been a much fairer way for the court to rule, and it would have removed the politics out of this decision. I'm talking about the presidential elections is what I'm talking about, because now the issue is what Maloney said. The court is basically removing the number one candidate from the elections in France. So the court has effectively decided on the French elections and not the people. And that's going to be very problematic. And then, of course, you have the debate about selective justice. And, of course, you can bring up Lagarde, the ECB chief, who, when she was French, by the way, who, when she was I believe she was the finance minister of France before she went to the IMF, or was she at the IMF and then the finance minister, and then she went to the ECB? I forgot exactly how her promotions worked. But anyway, I think she was the finance minister of France, and or the bank, the head of the central bank. I don't know, but she was found guilty of an arbitration. That was the trial. It was an arbitration trial where she helped one of her friends secure something like 400 million euros, and she did that by helping her friend, very wealthy guy, get into an arbitration court, and she was found guilty of doing this. And she got nothing. She pretty much got nothing. She got a slap on the wrist, and she was allowed to make it all the way to the head of the European Central Bank. She was found guilty of involvement in a corrupt 400 million euro arbitration and received no sentence and was rewarded with the ECB governor job. Le Pen apparently let paid assistants work on party matters and was found guilty of fraud and given 4-year jail time. What Le Pen, the claims against Le Pen is that she was embezzling money for a long time, many years. She was embezzling money. I believe the total amount that they claim she embezzled was around 2.6 million euros. A significant amount of money, but nowhere close to the tens of millions that are hidden away in those text messages between Ursula and Big Pharma, right? In those contract text messages. Nowhere close to Ursula amounts, but she doesn't release those text messages, does she? She lost them. She lost the text messages. So my point in all of this, whatever the Lagarde case was, the Lagarde case, I forgot about it, was many years ago, but she got promoted to the head of the ECB, even though she was found guilty. And we're talking about a huge sum of money, 400 million. That's a huge sum of money. I'm trying to remember what business her friend was involved in. I'm trying to remember. What did he sold his company, and he took a French bank to court. And I'm trying to remember what was the business that this guy was involved in. 1 second. Let me see if I can quickly pull it up. Lagarde, IMF chief, convicted over payout. This is from the BBC from 2016. A French court has found International Monetary Chief Christine Lagarde guilty of negligence, but did not hand down any punishment. As French finance minister in 2008, she approved an award of 404 million euros for businessman Bernard Tapie for the disputed sale of a firm. What firm was Tapie involved with? Tapie, he sued Credit Lyonnais. Ah, of course. He was a majority shareholder in sports goods company Adidas. I remember reading this article and the company. I'm like, Adidas. How could I forget Adidas? Anyway, that's the story behind Lagarde. Selective justice, I guess that's the big debate. Selective justice, not allowing Le Pen to stay in politics as the appeals process plays out. These things are big issues which the courts, if it had ruled properly, fairly, could have avoided these debates that are now going to be taking place in France. Anyway, that's enough of the Le Pen verdict. Let's talk about Ursula and Fico. Ursula and Fico. So, tomorrow is Liberation Day. Tomorrow is Liberation Day. Trump tariffs take effect across the entire world. It's like Will Smith getting out of the alien ship and announcing Independence Day. Tomorrow is Liberation Day. Tariffs take effect. And Fico, he was speaking to the media yesterday, and he revealed that he had called Trump to talk about tariffs and to talk about Liberation Day and the effects that Trump tariffs are going to have on Europe and on Slovakia. And Ursula spoke with Fico the other day, and she confronted him on his conversation with Trump. And Fico said that Ursula was very upset. She actually called him a complete idiot for talking to Trump. After all that happened with Musk, that is what she told Fico, according to Fico. A complete idiot for talking to Trump after all that happened with Musk. I imagine Ursula's referencing the whole Digital Services Act and the stuff that was going down with X and the European Union with Thierry Breton. I imagine that's what she's referencing. But upset with Fico, calling him an idiot for daring, as the leader of Slovakia, for daring to step out of line and without the approval of Ursula and talk to another world leader. How dare the Prime Minister of Slovakia talk with the President of the United States without my permission? How dare you? You're a complete idiot. Fico, you idiot. Justin, you idiot. I think Ursula's watching my channel. Fico, you idiot. Ursula, man. Ursula van der Crazy. Oh boy, the wrath of Ursula. I would have loved to have heard that conversation, huh? Fico, you idiot. I am telling you, Elon Musk is taking washing machine chips and putting them into Teslas. I'm telling you, that's what he's doing. He is taking washing machine chips from Europe and he is putting them into Tesla cars. Do you not see what's happening, Fico? Do you not see what's happening? We must stay united, Fico. We must stay united to bring down the United States. Their economy is going to be in tatters. Tatters, I tell you. How dare you talk to Trump? Tatters, tatters, tatters. Liberation Day, everybody. And you know, people say that Trump is not the unifier. Trump is not the unifier. You dare say that Trump does not unite people? My friends, Trump has accomplished the impossible. He's accomplished the impossible with Liberation Day. He has united Japan, South Korea, and China. That's right. They have agreed to continue economic trade and cooperation to address emerging challenges while the US trade war shatters global norms. This is coming from the Japan Times. Japan, South Korea, and China are going to work together to deal with Trump's tariffs. Japan, South Korea, and China coming together to deal with US tariffs. And you say Trump is not a unifier. Come on. Come on. Who else would have been able to unite these three countries? The European Union, they're preparing for a counterstrike, according to Politico, on big tech and US banks over Trump's mega tariffs. Mega tariffs. Some big tariffs. We're not talking about regular tariffs. We're talking about mega tariffs. And according to Politico, the Achilles heel of the United States, which the EU is going to absolutely take advantage of, is the service sector. That's right. The EU is going to target the service sector of the US. That is what Politico is saying. In targeting US services, Brussels could be thinking of bulge bracket banks like JP Morgan or Bank of America, or tech players like Elon Musk's social network X, search giant Google, or Amazon, the world's largest online retailer. We are certainly not excluding a bigger response, a better response, and an even more creative response through services, through intellectual property rights, a senior European official told reporters in mid-March. All these options are on the table today. The EU is a net exporter of automobiles, pharmaceuticals, and food to the US, but it is a net importer of services, and that gives it more leverage in a trade dispute. So services, that is what the European Union is going to target. Big tech and big banks. It's not going to work out well for the European Union in this trade war. It is not going to work out well at all. Trump is going to hit, he is going to hit tangible consumer goods, real physical items that you can touch and grab and feel. And the European Union, they're going to go after services. Ugh. Doesn't sound like a good plan, but we'll see. We will see how all of this plays out. Maybe the EU is going to place a 10-cent tax on iPhone software updates. That's what it sounds like. That's absolutely what it sounds like. A 10-cent tax if you access Google. A 5-cent tax if you post on X. Oh boy. Buckle up, everybody. It is going to get very, very bumpy. Very bumpy indeed. Liberation Day. So let's shift gears and discuss Project Ukraine, because according to the BBC, we have a new president of Ukraine. That's right. The soon-to-be new president of Ukraine, and his name is Zelensky. Zelensky, the next president of Ukraine, according to BBC News. This must have been an error. It's either a mistake or it's maybe it's AI. I don't know. Or maybe the UK, the BBC, they're trying to tell us something. Maybe this was deliberate, putting the next president of Ukraine under Zelensky's name. So yeah, Zelensky, the ambassador of Ukraine to the UK, he is the chosen one, the next president of Ukraine. That's what the UK wants, absolutely, because they have good control over Zelensky. So they would absolutely, if Elensky were to leave, have Zelensky take over. That would definitely benefit the UK and 008 Keir Starmer. Now, talking about 008 Starmer, he is scheming with the Green Goblin. We have reports which say that Starmer and the Green Goblin, they had a phone call on March 31st, and they talked about creating a no-fly zone. Starmer and Elensky. A no-fly zone in Ukraine if there is a ceasefire agreement. You always have to add that in there. Starmer always adds that in there. He always says, we're going to create a no-fly zone if there's a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, as brokered by the United States. In a phone call, March 31st, Elensky and Starmer discussed plans to convene military representatives from the Coalition of the Willing, a group of countries that have pledged to contribute peacekeeping troops and other security assurances at a meeting in Ukraine later this week. We are preparing a meeting between our military representatives for the preparation of contingents, Elensky said via his official Telegram channel. Starmer has said that the Coalition of the Willing will include planes in the air and boots on the ground to reinforce the Ukrainian military following a ceasefire agreement. You have to add that in there, following a ceasefire agreement. While Downing Street announced on March 17th that the plan had moved into the operational phase, both the UK and US officials have criticized the idea as underdeveloped and unrealistic. So it's the UK and Ukraine, with a little bit of flipping and flopping from Macron and France in this tripartite group of leaders of countries which are trying to escalate into a conflict with Russia, a collective West NATO conflict with Russia. The UK, France, and of course, the Green Goblin and Ukraine, the goal of which is to suck in the United States into a hot war with Russia, which is the only way that Ukraine could possibly come out of this conflict intact. So that's the plan from Starmer. And let's talk about Clown World. Why not? Let's get into some Clown World. What do you think are the chances that Starmer just might pull the trigger and actually try to create a no-fly zone in Ukraine without some sort of a U.S. backstop or a U.S. approval / ceasefire with Russia? What do you think those chances are? I give it a 50% chance, maybe even 60%. I don't know. I'm thinking that Starmer started all of this BSing, but now he's kind of been sucked into this Churchillian narrative that he's created for himself, and he just might pull the trigger and send British troops into Ukraine. They might already be there. And he just might agree with Elensky to try and set up some sort of a no-fly zone. Who is that going to get very ugly for the UK if Starmer actually does such a thing? Anyway, we'll find out. We will find out with time exactly what is going to happen between 008 and the Green Goblin. That's a great movie title, huh? 008 and the Green Goblin. All right, let's do a Clown World. And the Ukraine ambassador to Poland said that when Russia begins to fall apart, I will voluntarily act as governor of occupied Moscow in order to properly govern these territories. That is what the Ukrainian ambassador to Poland, Vasyl Bordnar, said. They are so obsessed with taking over Russia. They are so obsessed with conquering Russia, the collective West, the Europeans. It's an obsession that has led to their downfall in the past and will undoubtedly lead to their downfall in the future. But they just can't shake this obsession. They simply cannot shake it. Everyone wants to take a piece of Russia in the collective West. All of these leaders want to take a piece of Russia and control a piece of Russia and be the mayor of this town and be the mayor of that city. What a tragedy. What beautiful trees. I was just walking. I didn't think I would end up here. I didn't even know this existed. But what a pleasant surprise. So let's do a final clown world and we can wrap up today's video. And let's talk about Annalena Baerbock back in Kiev. She's back in Kiev on her farewell tour. That's right, she is on her farewell tour. Annalena Baerbock, the foreign minister of Germany. I believe she went to Kiev with the foreign minister, I want to say, of either Latvia or Lithuania. But she's on her farewell tour. Oh, it smells so nice. Oh, wow. Such a good smell. There was a little bit of rain this morning, and everything smells amazing. So yeah, Annalena on her farewell tour like a rock star, man. She's like a rock star. The only problem for Annalena is that she really only has two countries where she's welcome. One is Ukraine, and the other one, kind of Syria, kind of. Can you say that she's welcome in Syria? She does go to Syria quite a lot since they removed Assad, though she never gets any handshakes or anything like that. But yeah, she went to Kiev for about the 100th time so that she could say goodbye to the Green Goblin and pledge to the Elensky administration that Germany will stick it out with Kiev for as long as it takes. I'm gonna miss you, Elensky. I'm gonna miss you too, Miss Lady Foreign Minister of Germany. I miss you too. I miss you already. Podolyak, we're gonna miss Miss 360. That's the clown world, everybody. April Fools, courtesy of Annalena 720i. That's the video, theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like what I'm wearing in this video update. There is a 15% discount on all merchandise on the Duran shop. Link is in the description box. Down below, use the code SPRING15. Take care.